What's going on, everybody? This is Daniel Solis with VA Wholesale Mortgage, and we just wanted to make a quick podcast and kind of just go over some things about starting out in the mortgage business. So what I did was invited one of my good friends and coworkers, Corey Anderson, who's been in the business now for, Corey, how long you been in the business now?
2 years this month, actually.
2 years, and he's killing it. He's growing his business. He's growing his database. But what I wanted to do is really just bring him on here to talk to people that are interested in joining, interested in becoming a loan officer, and really want some background, raw information about what it looks like, because it's not always pretty. It's not always easy. You hear all these people talking about their volume, having record months, closing huge numbers, and it doesn't just happen overnight. It's actually really true work. It's a grind. It's a hustle. And I think a lot of people leave out those details. We talk about all the shiny things and all the fun and all the loans we're closing, but we don't necessarily talk about what it takes to get there. So I wanted to bring Corey on. He didn't come from any type of mortgage or finance background, and I kind of want him just to give a little background. Corey, can you tell everybody, where you started, what were you doing before this, and kind of what made you want to switch?
Yeah, so for about 8 years, I was working as a fitness coach, strength conditioning coach for a hospital up in the Richmond area. Like I said, just working with fitness clients, a lot of athletes, things like that. And honestly, you were the one that kind of pulled me towards mortgages. I think you kind of saw that I was getting a little burnout where I was at, just the long hours. And being with the same company for that long, I reached a point where I didn't really believe in what they were trying to do. I didn't really believe in their big picture. So it was hard for me to want to continue delivering, high level of service to them because I didn't believe in what we were doing. So it was affecting, the quality of work that I was delivering to the clients. And I just didn't feel like that was fair. And then I saw an opportunity to get into a business. I'd be lying if I didn't say the potential earnings played a big role in me making the switch. That was definitely a big part of it, but it was also
it was like a Wolf of Wall Street moment, wasn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Hey, for the record, I did try to get him to join a lot sooner than when he actually started. If he would have listened to me, we'd probably have a different conversation right now. But
yeah.
He was scared. But it's okay. It's okay. That's part of doing this. Is it's the unknown. It's going from a job that you had a security, you had the hours, you knew that every week, every month, a paycheck was going to come in, and you were going to something where it was completely unknown. You don't know if you're going to get a paycheck. You don't know where that's going to come from. But I think that's what it takes in this business is somebody to say, hey, there's unlimited potential and no one's going to put a ceiling on me and I can make it what I want to make it. So that's cool that you decided to do that and you decided to come over. And I was able to convince you.
Yeah. No, it was a unique opportunity, and it was cool because, the reason I got into fitness and sports performance is because, one, that was kind of what my passion was when I was in college. But two, the biggest part I did it for was I was able to help people accomplish whatever their goals were, whether it be they wanted to run a marathon or they wanted to train for a combine in college or they wanted to lose weight or someone coming in with nagging back pains. Like I was just able to help them reach whatever their end goal was. Coming into mortgages, I'm able to continue to help people, but instead of being in the gym, we're helping them with one of the biggest financial decisions they're going to make in their lifetime. So it's just kind of cool that I'm still able to be in a position of help to help people out with those decisions.
And I think that's a really cool point. I think that even though the businesses from a strength and conditioning coach or a strength coach and having that sort of mindset can carry over to a job that's on the opposite end of the spectrum, that you can still use the skills and the wants to help people and to carry that over into an industry where, you're right. You're helping their financial muscle, helping their, strengthen their financial goals, setting themselves up for the future and influencing even, people with kids. They see their parents owning and they see, different things that they're doing. So you're influencing generations as well, which is so cool. Now you came on 2 years ago. First month you were closing. What'd you do that first month? We joined you came on, and I mean, what'd you do? What'd you do the first month?
So I think my first month I was still technically part-time. I didn't jump into it full-time until I think it was like November, after I first got licensed. So the first month I think I did maybe one refinance, but my first full month full-time, I'd have to go back and look. I'm not sure, but I think I did right around 800,000 in volume for the first month. And then I think I matched that the second month after that. And then quickly I learned about the ebbs and flows of the business. I had 2 great months back to back. I think it was January 2021. I don't think I closed a single deal. And that's kind of where the stress of the job came in. It was all sunshine and rainbows for the first 2 months. And then it got real dark in January. And I'm just like, man, this is kind of tough. Like it kind of tugs on your nerves a little bit, makes you a little bit stressed out of where that next paycheck's coming from. But like, that's kind of what you said. It's all about the hustle and grind of it. You just got to go out there and just build more relationships and get more business.
I want to go back to that point that you said that you did the first little bit part-time. I get that question a lot. And, I tell people that it might work. It could work. Some people do it. I mean, what do you say to people that ask that question? Can you do this part-time?
I'd say you can, but it just depends on what you want to get out of it. Like if you want to come in here and really kill it and make the money that you have the potential to make, then you just gotta dive in full time, because there's a lot that goes into it to build up to that success. The biggest part is just being available. If you're working another job and you don't have the luxury of being able to answer your phone whenever it rings, that's potential lost business you're going to miss out on just because you're not available. The partners that you're going after, your referral partners and everyone that you're going to work with, the biggest thing they're going to want that I've learned after, having many conversations with people is being available and being on top of your communication. So if you're not answering phone calls or getting back to them quickly, you're just going to miss out on business. So if you want to do it part-time as just supplemental, maybe, but most of your business, I'd probably say, would just come from close friends and family. But if you really want to get out there, start meeting with people, because that's what a lot of it is, just relationship building. And it's hard to build relationships if you're only available part-time. It's like setting up lunches, setting up coffee meetings, going to events and happy hours, just things to get you in front of people more is really what's going to help drive up your book of business. So if you're working a 40-hour-a-week full-time job, you're kind of just cutting yourself short and being available to do those types of things.
Yeah, I think you just said something super important. It's all about relationship. And this business is a relationship business. And I always say this, it's a relationship business, and loans are the byproduct of those relationships.
It's like 95% relationship, 5% writing loans.
Exactly. And without having that consistent practice of being able to answer your phone or being able to go meet people and talk to people, it's hard to do this part-time. So I think if you're looking at this from a side of, hey, can I do this part-time? Like Corey said, I think you can, but I don't think you're going to allow yourself to go to levels that you want to go to if you do work part-time. If you work part-time, you're going to have part-time results. If you have full-time mentality, you're going to have full-time results. And I think that's so huge. And again, it is all about relationship. It's about building that database. It's about meeting people and making yourself available when you're available. So you came into this, you hit a little lull in January. I remember having a conversation with you that sometimes that happens. You get comfortable and you get into a routine and you stop necessarily doing the beginning part. What's the word I'm looking for? Back to the basics of what you should be doing. And you hit that lull. And I think a lot of loan officers do that in the beginning, is they hit this little dry spell where they get comfortable, lackadaisical, and the business stops coming in, and it almost sets in a panic. And a lot of people in that panic, either they quit or they dig in harder, which you dug in harder, which is awesome. So tell us a little bit about that, what happened after January, and continuing on with your journey and what you're doing.
So for me, that first January didn't set a whole lot of panic in, just because I know I'm just getting started. I made way more money than I could have imagined those first 2 months. So like life was still good in my eyes. But then after that, like with not receiving a paycheck for a full month, yeah, there's like a slight level of panic. But from there, I just kind of went back to the drawing board. Like, fortunate for me, I get to work with people like you and Eric, and, we just have a very good support system in our team. So like when I first started, I literally had all the tools and resources laid out in front of me. It was just a matter of me utilizing them and basically doing what I'm told, because, we have a lot of high producers on our team. There's absolutely no hesitations. They shared exactly what they were doing to get to where they were. There were no secrets. No one was trying to keep anything from anybody. The whole team wants everybody to succeed, which made it good for me because I was basically given the blueprint. I just had to execute on it. So really it was just going back to the very basics, not really trying to reinvent the wheel and just doing what works. So just getting back to that and being consistent with it. And like you said, depending on where your background is or what your financial situation was, it is very easy to get complacent when you do this, because you'll have months where you make a ton of money. Like there was a 2-month period where I made essentially half of my salary from my previous job in 2 months. So when I'm looking at my bank account, I'm like, this is kind of nice. So it is very easy to fall into that complacent mindset where you're like, all right, well, I have 12 months of mortgage payments just sitting in my savings account. So it's really easy to catch yourself just naturally falling off or becoming lazy and just getting away from the things that you were doing that got you to that point in the first place. So it's really key to just make sure you keep that momentum rolling versus going through those ebbs and flows, because it's much easier to keep momentum when the momentum's rolling. It's a lot harder to start that engine when it's at a dead stop.
Yeah, and I we might be a little biased because we do have a great support system, but the one thing that I do love about our company is that we have those weekly meetings. I mean, we're still in a size at VA Wholesale where we can have a group chat. We are all in a group chat of text messaging, and we all bounce ideas off of each other. We all motivate each other. And I think that helps get people past that, is those weekly meetings where we plug in with each other and, do a temperature check. Hey, how's everybody doing? How's the motivation levels? What can we do to help out to get you back out there motivated, out there hustling, out there fighting for business? And I love that piece, is that we do have that support system, and it's going to continue. I mean, that's one thing that we can't ever let stop, because the second that we become complacent, everybody else becomes complacent. We become complacent as a company. We can't let that happen because we're all on fire right now, and it's fun. So yeah, you've done it. You've been successful with it now. Fast forward for today and in the future, I guess, what are you doing now? What does your business look like now? Little tips that you would give somebody that's, let's say day one, they start tomorrow. What's a few things that you're doing now and putting into play that you've seen a lot of results from?
It's one thing that always rings in the back of my head, and it's something that you say all the time, is everybody outside the four walls that you're sitting in now is your employee. So anybody that you chat with, anybody that you talk to, anybody that hammer into their brain that they know that you do mortgages. So as soon as they hear somebody say something about buying a house or looking for mortgages or looking to get pre-approved, you are the first name that pops into their head to get referrals that way. And like I said, it is just the relationship business. We're not paying for leads. We're not doing anything like that. So it's just a matter of staying in front of people, staying in front of previous clients, just keeping in touch with them. We want to make sure this is relationship building and not so much transactional. Like, it's very easy. It was easy for me. I was doing this when I first started. I'd close the deal, buy, enjoy your new home. That was the end of it. And as I got through, more months of being in the business, it got to the point where I was spending more time getting to actually know the clients, getting to know, they got families or kind of what their background is. So getting to know them a little bit more on a personal level to make that connection, because that's just going to help build trust in the long run. And then when they leave that with a positive experience, they're going to be more likely to refer, to their friends and family. But at the same time, you've probably bought cars or purchased other things in life. Most of the times, I'd say those salespeople never keep up with you. So their name kind of just disappears in the back of your head and you don't ever think about it. So it's like when I was first starting, I was closing these transactions, forgetting about them, never stayed in touch with them. And then, you reach out to them a year later, they almost forget who you are, or they forget how that experience working with you was. So important thing is just staying in front of people. When you're meeting with real estate agents, title companies, you have that first meeting, it's really not good enough. You have to stay in front of them, continue to have meetings with them, because you want to try to have these people be comfortable with you almost on like a friendship level, not so much 100% business. We want to make sure they like you, comfortable with you, and will enjoy working with you versus just making the phone call like, hey, send me your business, because it's just not going to work that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I'm completely turn this little interview on its head, because I kept joking that I was going to call this the Mortgage Muscle Podcast here, and I've had a couple people laugh at it, but now I'm going to actually do it since we're recording. So, as far as you're working with people on their financial health, you come from a health and nutrition background. This business can completely change your health. And I'll just say it. You go to eat a lot. You go do necessarily skip workouts because you're always so busy. I don't want to just talk about necessarily the financial side of things. I want people to understand, like, the health. If your health's not there as well, then you're not going to be able to perform at a high level in a high capacity. You're going to have low energy. You need high energy for this job. You always got to be going. And I think the health is a huge aspect. So coming from the nutrition background, I mean, what advice you give somebody that's getting into this, as far as, what's your kind of like your routine, or how does your meals, what do your meals look like? How do you accommodate going out to eat and doing those things? I mean, come on, Mortgage Muscle. Let's go.
Oh, dude, it was tough. I think when the first like 2 or 3 months I started, man, I gained like 10 pounds. And that's just because I was getting 20,000+ steps a day working in the gym, to sitting in a cozy desk chair for most of the day.
What is it, the freshman 15? What would everybody say?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We got something for loan officers, man. We do like I don't know what we do, but we got some. I can't come up with anything right now, but let me tell you, it's about 10 to 15, maybe 20 sometimes.
Yeah, it's easy when you're just sitting down all day, especially a lot of times people are working from home with COVID and everything. So there was a point where my home office setup was a mere 2-foot walk to the kitchen. So it was real easy to just walk in there to fill up my water. As I'm walking out of the kitchen, the pantry's right there, open it up, grab a snack. So I did put on weight pretty quick. I kind of readjusted everything. But, a lot of my meals are, I try to keep them as clean as possible, because I do try to go out to lunches quite a bit, a lot of, happy hours, cocktail mixers, things like that. So moderation is key. I try to live by the 80-20, eat right 80% of the time, 20% of the time, enjoy those vices, so to speak, enjoy those things, your ice cream, enjoy a couple cocktails, but it's just to make sure you don't fall off that wagon and kind of go on that downhill spiral. When you have one, it can just kind of open up a can of worms, or you just keep going. Like I love me some ice cream, man. If I don't put it in a bowl and I just grab the tub, it's gone. Like I will continue to eat that thing until it's gone. So, and then the other thing too is when I started, I was able to just kind of work out whenever I wanted to, versus now, I have to make a point to try to go to the gym before my day starts, because I tried going in the afternoon. But this business isn't a 9 to 5. It's not an 8 to 4. Like, you kind of have to be available all the time. So it was, adjust my lifestyle, go to the gym first thing in the morning, because I tried going, after 5, but then I'd catch myself answering phone calls in the middle of the gym, and then it would just kind of throw my whole workout routine off. So you just kind of have to find what fits your schedule, what's kind of fitting, your daily schedule, your weekly schedule, and just find what works. It's a big science experiment. What works for me is not going to work for you. What works for you is not going to work for somebody else. It's just messing with the pieces until you find something that works. So there's all kinds of different nutrition plans, intermittent fasting, 6 small meals a day, whatever works for you is kind of one of the things you just got to stick to. It's just a matter of figuring that piece out.
And I think it's so important. Like, I think the health with this business is so important, because it to say that, this business isn't a little stressful, get a little stressful, and you don't want to be in a place where that stress is causing negative habits or negative healthy habits. You want to be able to function, like I said, at a high level. You want to have the energy to make it through the end of the day, but not just necessarily just for work, but for your families, for other things that you want to do. Believe it or not, we actually do have lives outside of mortgages, which is hard to believe sometimes, because we're always working. But you know, you want to have that health, you want to have that energy to do that. So, you know, we joke about the Mortgage Muscle podcast, but I think there's a lot of people that could benefit from hearing that, to say, hey, look, there is a healthy way to do this. And I think that's something that we want to put out, and something that we can, you know, help with, not only new loan officers joining, but how do you stay in a healthy mindset throughout it so that you can perform and you can deliver at a high level and a high capacity. So, you know, I've kept you on here for about 20 minutes now. It kind of flew by.
It did.
It was a good little talk for our first one. You have anything else to leave off with?
You know, if it's something you really want to do, just make sure. I think the most important thing is just make sure you have a good support system, whether that be whatever team you're going to be working with, you know, whoever your significant other with is, just to make sure they back you 100%, because, you know, it is stressful. The hours can be weird. You know, you will be working on the weekends. Traveling gets to be just a little bit more difficult. So, you know, just make sure if you dive into this, you have a good support system to kind of back you as you go through it, because it is going to get tough. There are going to be some really stressful months. There are going to be nights where you lose sleep on some files. I've ran into that on a couple of occasions. And that stress can get to you. So like I said, like Daniel mentioned, just staying on top of your health and mental health, you know, making sure you're eating right, getting some form of exercise will help with those stress levels to kind of keep you chugging along. So.
Awesome, man. Well, look, I really appreciate you doing this. Appreciate you coming on here and just sharing some insight about joining this business and some other things. Guys, Corey Anderson, Virginia Beach, Virginia. What other states are you in?
North Carolina and Florida.
There you go. See vacation homes. You know, I'm gonna hit him up, even though he's on my team. Do a vacation home for me in Florida. So, guys, just thank you for joining us on this podcast this morning. Corey, again, thank you for joining me, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. And you know, look forward to the next one.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, man.